So the next junk pile build, I have to sort that out. I have this 562 set of bones. Probably could make it run. And a little auspicious in the sense that it has that seal out. Bearing looks fine. I mean, we could probably make this run the way it is. This is a 2016 model. Probably has an EL48 carb. Still has that little brass ring in there. But it has the newer fuel line arrangement where it comes up straight from the tank instead of coming back from this, partition back there. And not sure how the cylinder looks. We can take a look in there. But usually on a saw like this, it's pretty high hour. Actually doesn't look bad. So maybe I'll put a flywheel on that and see what's wrong with it. See if I can make that one run. So there's one. It was obviously a tree service saw. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And then there's the other 572. I have a bunch of parts on order for it. But I'm kind of hoping that its biggest boggle is those busted fins. Tore up anti-vibe. I got one of those coming. And an air filter. And I've got a couple of these. These are pretty easy to change. These pulleys. So. And then there's this saw. This is a first generation 550. And I'm going to have to let Bob talk about these. I'm not very familiar with these. I just simply didn't work on, the general parts of these saws. All the saws that I ever did based on this chassis were basically putting in bearings and seals, so I never really got on the top side. I replaced a couple of top ends and things like that, but it was usually kind of block and tackle for somebody else. And what I do know about this series was they actually did have a few issues. There were systemic issues, and eventually Husqvarna did what they always do, and they fixed them. In this case, they fixed it with a whole new design. And the reason why bones are available is because a lot of them blew up. So there's actually quite a bit of material to work with if you want to build one of these saws. Now, if you're a pro, it's like, why would you do that? Because, they have a track record of not holding up in professional environments. But if you're a hobby guy or a firewood guy, or you want to make a little hot rod, why not? They're around for cheap. Parts are available. And I'll tell you what, the first generation of these were snappy little saws, even if they didn't hold up in a pro environment. So they're fun. My hunch is I could put one of these together, make it run, and I may never wear it out, just simply because it wouldn't get enough time. Now, what I need on this one, obviously, is a clutch. Probably the worm gear, looks like it to me. On this side, right? I need a side cover. I might have one in the pile. See what we have for bones on this one. Looks nice, right? One of the reasons why it has no compression is it has no spark plug. My guess is this one came in low on compression. Somebody did a compression check on it and realized it was not where it needed to be. Might be one of those Chinese cylinders they put on there for a while. And then the customer who brought it in with an issue basically said they didn't want to spend the money, and out to the back it went. That would be my guess as the path that this saw has followed. So we can speculate all we want. I'll also see that the muffler screws are loose, which means that after the person did the compression check, they probably pulled the muffler off the seat. And it looks to me like a candidate for a muffler mod. It's like those old style 5.62s. Here's a gasket. See if I can keep it intact. So I don't have to buy a gasket. Deflector. And this could have been a straight gas saw. Who knows? We are going to find out, though, aren't we? That's what we do here. Huh, it's actually not as bad as I thought it would be. Yeah, it scored a little bit, but you know something, that's really not that bad. Man, there is not much on there. It's a little scored, I guess. I've seen a lot worse. That is for sure. Let me make sure I have my screws. 1, 2. Gotta make sure that you have all your bits and pieces on these. There it is. 1, 2, 3, 4 is right there. So I've got those. So I have all that stuff. And man, that looks like it was straight cast. Oh boy, it's a gamble because usually straight gas, if it was that way for a long time, can do damage to the bottom end. But usually the top end goes before the bottom end. You can sometimes just get away with just putting the top end on. But like I said, since this is a hobby saw, we don't care, do we? So that's where we're starting from. Let me see if I have any more junk in the box that will help us along in this endeavor. So we do have some more junk. Here is a cylinder, a muffler, and a side cover. I believe that side cover would fit. I think it's for these. Yes. So I have a side cover. I think that's a good cylinder right there. Let me see if I've got a little Red Barn piston to put on there. Look at that. 550 pop-up. So I think what I'm going to do is clean up this piston, or clean up this cylinder pretty good, and clean that up and put that thing on, put it back together, and see if we have a running saw. Wouldn't that be funny? Well, got a visitor today, and he brought some rather unique saws. But neither one of them, I've actually never seen either one of these saws. You might think you have, but I guarantee you have not. That one in particular is kind of unique. And for me, that's unique. I've never seen one of those before. So, in the interest of expanding our knowledge, we'll see how they operate. Let's see how many of you smart guys can see something a little bit unique about this saw. I'll wait. I'll leave the picture there for a second. This one here, I'm not sure how unique it is. I've just never seen one, and I think it's pretty cool. There's a couple things that are pretty cool about it. Check out that muffler. You think you guys who mod mufflers had an original idea. But figure that out yet? I think we'll just have to wait and see. But Bob used to make things called spike specials. I think that's a spike special on steroids. Well, the day kind of went to crap on us. It was one of those things where you look at the weather report and it said 3% chance of precipitation. So I called Bob up about, I don't know, 9 o'clock or so, and he can't answer the phone. for whatever reason. And I'm saying, you know something, we're having freezing rain.
Yeah, we're not going to get down to t-shirts today.
And look at this. Everything's got about a ½ inch of ice on it, 1/4 inch. Except for the wood that we have to cut, which is good. So I think what our mission is today is to kind of finish off this firewood. Got a bunch here, and if we don't fall on our tails because of the ice on the ground, got some more down there as well. And I gotta grab a PV. Oh, he's got it. And he's running the Olympic.
Not really. I'm not going to work with that today.
No?
I have to run it because Pete wants to see it run.
Okay, so we'll run that a little bit.
Everything's frozen to the ground here.
Well, I want to get some video of that. We'll do that up front then, before I get going with the other saws. How's that? And I'm going to run the 70E, and I'm going to put a little time on the 585. I want to break it in. It's not broken yet.
That goofy Olympic starts on the first pole all the time.
Well, I would say that my...
Understand why?
Well, I'm gonna say counter that with my 70E usually does as well. Not the first, the second.
This is called the Italian 372. It's Olympic 970. I wasn't even going to bring it, and then Pete, this is for you. He says, why don't you run that Olympic up there, bring it up there and see what it does. So he wants to get a little bit of this on video. So this is by request.
By request.
A recent trade here. So. Maybe.
You'll have to cut it in half, I think.
I'll cut a piece off. Double barrel.
Yeah.
Pete.
And I'm going to go over here and hit this with the 585 a little bit. Bob, just as a heads up, that one over there, there's a piece of metal in there somewhere. I don't know where, but I remember seeing it when I cut it down. Barbed wire fence that went through it.
Right.
A little bit.
running good.
Is it? I think it's just doing what it does.
Huh?
I think it's just doing what it does. It'll sit there upside down like a lawnmower.
Well, these noodles build up. These noodles do build up.
Yeah. I think there's enough here to keep us busy.
Yeah, we're gonna rip them down.
That's a good running saw right there. Just sitting there idling like that. I'll leave it out some.
Wouldn't go. What's wrong with it? It's out of gas.
Fuel pumping.
Huh? No, it's out of gas.
Literally out of gas.
I ran it out. I'm like, but I didn't think I didn't put as much in as I thought, so I didn't think I was near the end of the tank.
I got
Dumb.
plenty.
Just dumb.
Did I tell you the embarrassing one I did? I actually did put on the camera. I ripped that 572 together, and I'm all excited. I come out here and cut into the first day, and it's running okay. But you know, after a couple of minutes, it started like sputtering, like it was out of gas, and started stalling. And I'm all upset about it, so I fired off and run a little bit longer, and run out of gas again. And I get to the end of the probably half tank, almost to the bottom of the tank, it wouldn't run at all. I'm like, what the hell, man? I remember I never put the fuel filter back on, so it wouldn't hold a little line down into the tank.
Oh yeah, yeah. Then it'll suck shit in there too.
So you want to reveal what that is yet?
Huh?
You want to reveal what that is,
Uh,
or you want to keep it a Bob Spike
no,
special?
We'll talk about it, but what, you want to do it now?
Sure. I like that old saw. See how easy that thing started? I don't know if you did. I don't know if I had it on camera, but Bobby was saying, all I got to do is put a little bit of gas down the carburetor, because I had the thing apart because I was going to tap the carburetor. So just for shits and grins, I did. First pull. Lit right off. Now his Italian 372 has got it beat though, because he had no pressure, no nothing. He just brought it up here and put gas in it and fired it right off.
There's quite a story there. If you get a shot of the front of that crankcase.
Yeah, I think we're going to call that one Patches.
Oh, it's the Johnsky.
It's a Johnsky. This one's about as good as that.
Well, you can't go by the decal. I had to fill that in. It's not a 2260 WH. It's not a heated saw. It's actually not a 2260. It is, as Walt was trying to get everybody to pay attention to before, just to make a nice mess. It's a wide mount, large mount saw. So technically it's a Johnsrud 2262. Now, you go ahead, scratch your heads like, well, I never heard of that model. Well, you know, the factory really never built one. And now that I'm retired from the store, I got time to correct some of these injustices in models that weren't really quite offered. So I thought that, you know, Husky could have a narrow and a wide mount, so the Johnsrud should. So this is technically, I created my own 2262. And I spray the crankcase. There's this high temp engine paint I got at the auto store. It's VHT engine paint, and it's a pretty good match for the Johnsrud red. And it's a high temp paint, so matter of fact, I was smelling it getting hot a little bit today. And it's not peeling or yeah, it'll probably scratch a little bit because that used to be a silver crankcase from a 562. And I brought this up because this is essentially the saw that it replaced. The reason that half of this crankcase is orange, it is a 2156. The C, of course, is not there anymore. And this was that tree guy got mad at it. Either he threw it or it dropped accidentally out of a bucket. And that side of the case was smashed. But the rest of the saw was in really good shape. So I just grabbed a half of a 357 case and built that. And I run the hell out of that because it's already ugly and scratched and beat up. And I don't have to fuss over it or worry about it. This ain't the best chain today, but this is kind of it gets an awful lot of work done. It doesn't very often get unfueled. I might even pull out the little 50cc saw.
What'd you bring for a 50?
Well, this thing is it's kind of a 2150 with the 346 top end.
Oh, that ought to run pretty good, right?
This is the saw I run the most out of all of them. It has a couple holes in the muffler, but it's got a gasket and everything.
It's got to be the holes.
No, it's just I think that when you put these top ends on the plastic case, they run better than on the metal case.
Huh, that's interesting.
And I've done a few of them, so.
I can believe that. I haven't looked at one of those plastic cases in almost 10 years.
Yeah, so you never had the success with this chassis that you should have. And that's why you got bored with it and gave all your goddamn parts to me. which I've actually had fun. I've used some of them. You know, when all the aftermarket cylinders and stuff came out, nobody really copied the quad port 346 top end. Everybody was coming out with different versions of the 2350 top ends. And the one with the cap transfer covers I thought was garbage. Even the factory ones, they're junk. They had a weird vibration in it. It would spit out the muffler bolts on one end. The thing was a mess. I never thought they ran good, but that's what most of the aftermarket kits were. So you were never going to end up with a saw that you really liked unless you spent hours and hours and hours.
We did, grinding.
Yeah, which is dumb. This is
basically, yeah, I did one, and I remember it was one of my first Fuglies. You know what punted the 350s away?
What?
The 562s.
Well, you don't like little saws anyway.
It's not that I don't like them, it's just that kind of look around you.
Well, a lot of what you do is more, it's not really 50cc saw stuff anyway.
Yeah, it's 60, 70cc stuff.
So, but for me, these come in handy. I can go all day with that. Yeah, so today is like all red today. Hey, look, just because they closed the Johnsrud factory doesn't mean they're not still being made.
That's good. But now
I also made a 560 XPG, which I didn't bring because I was bringing all red today.
Yeah.
And what that one was Well, you can do one yourself.
Yeah, we did
People
one.
that don't really know, Husky had a mistake, and they shipped a bunch of the small mount short blocks into the country. So I ordered a couple short blocks in, and I sent one to my buddy here, and he calls up and he says, "This is a narrow mount." And I'm like, "You know what? No, it can't be. What are you talking about?" "It is, it is, it is." I said, "No, it's not." And then he's taking pictures, and he sent me a bunch of pictures. I looked at it, and under the where the serial number tag usually goes, there's they cast in 60 because it's the 60cc, and it didn't have an L because the real ones have a 60L. So I said, "Shit, maybe I got one." So I did, and so again, we can't get the 560 here in the U.S. So I created that I used that short block, and I made a G out of it because I took all the heated components and stuff from a blown up 562G. And believe it or not, sometimes when they send like a support package in to support a chassis, they send a lot of parts that you don't really need. And they actually had a 560 XPG decal in stock for the starter. So I did that. So it looks completely legit, and so it is legit. It's just that I made it myself.
I think it's cool.
So there's a few models that we didn't get, and there's some other surprises coming. That now that I'm in the manufacturing business.
You're in the manufacturing business.
Yeah, like I said, we're gonna correct injustices that were done.
To John Surratt. I think that's funny.
So.
No, I actually, if you remember, I did do a 560. It was called the Ultimate Old Man Saw.
Yeah.
And by the time I finished buying the freaking parts, I might as well just bought a 2260.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, you went through all that trouble before you got the wrong short block. So you've got one yourself that you got a project in the making whenever you want to do it. And some of these parts to complete it, the tank, the handle, the starter, they were just like inventory parts. That's as we were closing the store, there's no way we're ever going to use that stuff.
Yeah.
So, and then this side cover, that's a 562 side cover with that same paint. Like another thing too, that's like to build these, and I ran into the opposite problem with, the small mount and the large mount cases. These top handles are not the same. I mean, the brake handles.
Yeah.
Like on a, like the 555 brake handle is different than the 562 brake handle.
See, that's what I think I'm missing.
There's a little bit of a spacing thing here. Now you can make it fit. Like this is actually stretched out a little bit so it would go over the wide case, because they never made one of these.
Okay, well that makes sense.
They never made one of these for the large mount case.
Well, I'll go back and do inventory because I'm kind of rolling back around to the 562s anyway.
Yeah.
I'm going to do another 572. I'm going to take that when I have the crusher and make it run. Basically, the piston and stuff inside the other one is like new. It's just got smashed and broken fins. It'll still run.
So you've got a red 2260 rebuilt bottom end.
Yeah, with brand new crank.
Well, we got to put that to use.
Yeah. Yep. I put it in it's a brand new 560. Well, it's the same crank that I actually bought, and I put that in the red cases, and they're nice. They're ready to go. Pull together, center the crank, everything, just sitting there doing nothing. And but I think I need to do exactly that. Just do a red Ultimate Old Man Saw. One question I had for you though on those is typically we have 20-inch bars. Is there a decent 24 for the small mount?
What do you mean decent?
Like
Sugihara makes one. Oregon makes them.
Suji would be good.
Yeah.
So that's what I need to find.
There is no VersaCut in a 24 small mount that I know of.
That was what I was looking for, and I couldn't find any.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd like to do that. The Zumera would be good too for that. You don't bore cut with those things. Those bars last forever if you're not punching them into the wood. But
as long as you don't do a lot of bore cutting.
Yeah, they
I
last
don't think
good.
the tips hold up that well.
No, I learned that the hard way. Look at this, we got dust on this new saw. Isn't that terrible?
What do you got?
Dust. There's dust on it. I don't know if that's going to be a shelf queen anymore. I was going to break out the axe, see if I can split some of that by hand.